What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at Spellbook Demonslayers, another entry to the Vampire Survivors Horde survival genre. This is a game where you play as a spellbook that has effectively gotten... Okay, this is like what happens when librarians go nuts and lose their minds against the never-ending cascade of the digital world. Nobody reads books anymore, and the books are angry, and so now they have to annihilate millions of demons until they themselves feel better. This game's a little bit of a slow burner. It took it a minute for it to click for me because, like, there were things that I didn't know at the beginning of my first playthrough that after like 15 minutes or so became very, very obvious, and then I started to enjoy the game quite a bit more. However, if you're looking for another game that's going to scratch that Vampire Survivors itch, if by some means you have not found a way to scratch it yet, there's a whole lot of options out there. Spellbook Demonslayers is releasing a demo in a couple of days, or you can jump onto itch.io and you can play the demo beta right now if you wanted to. I'll try to give you both of those links down below so that you can peruse them. So anyways, this is a very, very simple game. Go in, destroy monsters, get currency, come back, upgrade, do it again. That's it. That's the entire gameplay loop. We're going to go ahead and start off a game. As of right now, I have 2 spellbooks unlocked. For the context of the demo, there's only 3 spellbooks that you can have. It looks like we've got Spear, we've got Tammy, and we've got Wolf. So we got to do 4 runs in order to unlock Wolf. Don't think we're going to get that done today. I don't know what run I'm on right now. I think I only did like 1 run, and it took like 30 minutes. Like, I was in for a while to unlock Spear. Like, I didn't die, that's for sure. I made it all the way past, like, the boss to, like, the turbo mode. And, like, anyways, the game has, like, a kind of different flow than Vampire Survivors does. We'll go ahead and try out Spear. Apparently, we start out with a bonus that gives us more projectile speed, damage, range, all that good stuff. We start out with the Ghost Bullet, which apparently just fires at a random nearby enemy, and it chains even if it misses. And then we have a passive ability called Bullet Hail. Gain 1 projectile at level 7, 15, and 30. That sounds all right. I'll take that. These are all locked right here. These are going to be the various maps that you can play on, just in case you wanted to try out something different. But inside the demo, there's only the Library Courtyard map that's going to be available. However, I think there might be... Yeah, it looks like we can actually upgrade enemy damage and, like, their movement speed. Basically, it's got the same thing that Hades has, where you can add various heat levels in order to make the game harder. And I think that's a pretty solid choice to keep replay levels up. It also looks like you have the ability to upgrade the stage somehow. It's locked. It's not in the game yet, but there is an option to upgrade the stage, and I'm kind of curious what that means. If that's going to be like, how does that differentiate itself from, like, heats or anything else? Like, does it actually change things about the level? Makes me curious, but I guess we'll find out later. Let's go ahead and dive on into the Library Courtyard and check it on out. A demon invasion is approaching. Slaughter them with the Cosmic Library's finest magic. Yeah, that magic's a dime. There's a cosmic shrine just ahead. Stand near it to get a temporary bonus. Yeah, so that's going to be like the first mechanic of this game. Anyways, there are these shrines. And in this game, if you're near a shrine, if you're inside like its ring of influence and you kill an enemy, if you get this number down to 0, it'll give you a buff that lasts for like X amount of time. And that's actually very, very integral to the core gameplay experience. Like, your basic abilities themselves are going to be enough to keep enemies off you, but not necessarily enough to win. And basically, by chaining together these different areas of control that give you various buffs, those buffs stack up, and they make your abilities much more catastrophic and much more gnarly than they would have been otherwise. We've already leveled up, so we got to choose between a tornado, which gives us a piercing tornado that shoots deadly tennis balls at our targets. We've got the Spirit Shield. Apparently, the shield circles around us and shoots bullets when it damages enemies. Your armor will increase the bullet amount. Our Ghost Bullet can be upgraded to level 2 to get an extra shot. Or we can get Tome Dust, which allows us to fart behind us a shotgun blast of dust that will annihilate enemies. Let's try out the tornado, I guess. So there it is. We've got tornadoes flying all over the place. I'm going to continue to keep leveling up, and we're going to keep an eye out for shrines. You can see the buffs that we currently have listed above our head. It does block the field of play. I would recommend maybe they move it over to the side, and then it also have a ticking counter around it, basically like an MMO buff that basically ticks downwards so that you can tell how long you have on that. Balls chain off of 1 more demon. Sure, let's make my balls bouncier. Why not? We'll go ahead and throw that on in there, and now we have the bounciest of balls. All will look upon us and say, damn, those balls are pretty bouncy. I wish that my tennis balls would bounce like that. I had to include the last line just so the YouTube censorship wouldn't get me. You have to establish context, otherwise the bots will take you out. They'll choke you out like a UFC title fighter. Let's see here. We've got the Shrine Maiden favor plus 20%. Spawn a Cosmic Shrine that buffs you. This is for an aura. And so basically, from what I can tell from my practice run, you get active abilities up here, and then you get auras. I don't think the auras are, like, limited. Instead, the auras basically modify your stat stack in order to make them more effective. I don't know how many of these you get, because at the end of the game, when I was out at about 25 minutes, they were basically spamming these things at me. However, both the abilities in this game and the auras seem to evolve. If you mouse over this little arrow right here, it'll tell you what the evolution is. I'm going to go with Tailwinds so that I can be a little bit faster, and it looks like it repeatedly knocks back and damages when it evolves. Okay. Sounds good. I just wanted to be a little bit faster. One place where I do think that the game is lacking is that there's not a whole lot of personality to the spell books. Like, I know what you're saying, like, how do you make a book have more personality? Well, I have suggestions here. And so, everything in this game, from the pixel art to the spells, and to, like, the explosions and everything else is very, very well animated. However, the one area where that does not carry is in the design of the spellbooks of themselves. They all just kind of float here. One suggestion that I do have is, in order to tie together kind of the unified pixel art vision of the game, where everything else is animated and everything else is moving and has kind of like a 4 to 6 frame animation that it repeats, and very, very smooth ones, in fact, is what the rest of the game has, I think the spellbook should have the same thing. And so, in order to give a spellbook more personality, we need to think about the ways in which that spellbook is gaining propulsion in order to stay up and float. My suggestion was each spellbook should kind of like stay in the air differently and have its own animation. So like one spellbook would flap its bindings like a bird. Another spellbook would do one big flap that like puts it up into the air and it like floats for a second before it dips back down and then it flaps. Another one would have, you know, like how an octopus or how a squid fires out from behind it a jet of water to push itself forward, and its tentacles kind of like move up and like flick backwards in order to make that happen. Like one of the books would move kind of like a jellyfish or like a squid. Everything else in the game has like an animation and has like different frame sprites and whatnot, except for the books. And so it was just a thought that occurred to me. We can get magma axes, hire a fireball, or hurl a fireball in the drag. I guess you're hiring a fireball too. I don't really know what the fireball is getting out of this. Hopefully a decent salary and some dental. Creates burning ground as it travels whenever it hits a demon. That sounds pretty cool. I think we could go for that. I'm also going to give you a second to listen to the soundtrack. The soundtrack's actually quite good. They've got kind of like a DBZ-inspired heavy metal anime thing going on for the soundtrack that I think works out pretty well. It definitely gives you the feeling of kind of like the opening sequence to something like Vinland Saga or something of that nature. And so anyways, very, very well done with the soundtrack. Whoever does it knows their heavy metal chops. We can get another aura here. I would suggest that we take damage and projectile size. Actually sounds pretty good, although we don't really have anything that's penetrating, but you can see we're leaving flames on the ground now, which is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and pick up this chest from the enemy that we whacked. Magma axis will pierce a demon. Okay, sounds good. That means we spread our flames a little bit better. Yeah, that actually works out okay. I don't hate it. I like this tornado ability. It's doing pretty well. We can fire actually an additional fireball as well, should we desire to do so. Yeah, let's kind of max out one thing at a time. I'm going to try to focus on like the various abilities that I have for right now and get them evolved, and then we'll focus on other things. I haven't really had a chance to memorize any of the synergies or anything that go into the game just yet. If you whack a lot of enemies at once, it automatically combines the gems into various colors, and those various colored gems have the exact same values as they do in Vampire Survivors. The blue ones being the worst, the green ones being kind of middle range, and red ones being like the best ones. I think I would like a cast speed. Yeah, that sounds good. A cast speed aura sounds great. Like, look how fast we're firing now. That's very, very satisfying. I like that a lot. This game does periodically spawn bosses. These bosses have Diablo 2 style affixes on them. When you kill these bosses, you absorb their affix and you have it for a while, in case you were wondering how that functions. And that, once again, is a very, very important part of the game, just like the shrines. And in fact, there are entire builds that rely on you stacking shrines or rely on you stealing boss buffs. And so it does give the game a little bit of a different flavor. Some runs you're going to be churning through thousands of mobs. Other runs you're going to be sniping and assassinating bosses and shrines as fast as possible, because the build just don't work without the buffs, but it do work very, very well with the buffs. We've got Magma Axis level 4. That means that on level 5 it's going to evolve. We only get 4 active abilities. I don't actually know exactly how many. Well, I don't know if it's going to evolve yet. I still haven't mastered the whole evolution system. We'll take a look at the tooltip the next time it goes through. They do go up to level 10, but like it says it can evolve at like level 4 or something like that. Not exactly sure how it works, but I should probably experiment with it just so I'm not feeding you like bad information. As with all things, though, when it comes to these early access copies and whatnot, some of the minutia gets lost in the margins without the availability of guides and whatnot, which I'll fully fess up. I'm the kind of person that uses guides pretty aggressively for some of the more esoteric aspects of various games. All right, so we got some bone doggies coming after us right now. We are going to want to do something about that. We've got Frenzied Step. Oh, okay, so that shrine was a Smuggler. The Smuggler brings you these things known as illegal upgrades. Illegal upgrades are usually really, really powerful shifts to your overall build. Like, they tend to be auras. But they are auras that give you something really, really awesome, but also take from you something really, really awesome. And so the adoption of illegal upgrades, you kind of got to think about it a lot of the time before you dive on in. We could get Star Scourge. It replaces my lowest level spell, which in this case would be my blue bullet. However, this seems like a modified, better version of what I already have because it fires 4 gravity bullets. So I'm going to take it. Yeah, it seems like it's just flatly a more awesome version of what I already have. Star Scourge can chain 2 more times. We could get Lead Sprinkler, which is basically, it's these magma balls that occasionally get fired in bursts of like 6 or 7, and it rotates around you, aiming straight out from your central kind of point. And if it kills anything, that explodes. And anything that the explosion kills also explodes, which means that this ability right here can actually lead to some explosive fanfare where you wipe like half the screen in one cast. It's actually fairly entertaining. So I'm going to take it because it entertains me with its villainy. We got, from here, we got Lead Sprinkler upgrade, and we got the Tornado upgrade. Very nice. So our cooldown's a little bit shorter on Tornado's launch. I'm going to try to grab green crystals from wherever I can. Let me get them green crystals. So what happens when this timer runs out is, well, you're probably going to find out, but basically this game is endless from what I can tell. It puts you into kind of like a turbo mode where it starts from 0 and it ticks upwards, but the entire game is accelerated by like 100, 200%, and so you move a lot faster, you fire a lot faster, but the enemies do as well. And so like basically the first 12 minutes is just a test to see if you're worthy of unlocking the next level from what I've seen so far. But in the demo there is no next level, and then from there it puts you into an endless mode. And as far as demos go, that's actually a really smart idea to keep people playing. I'm going to go ahead and we will go Reverberation. I want my cast speed to be really, really, really high. The more bullets I can fire, the happier I shall be. We've got another villain over here that we need to take care of. Unfortunately, a lot of my abilities right now are like directional in nature, and that kind of like concerns me. I don't really have any like large circular abilities that get the enemy up off me with that ooh-ya-ya energy, you know. I don't think we're going to get this shrine, which is really kind of a bummer, not due to the fact that we're not killing stuff, but just kind of due to the fact that all of our casts are really short range and nothing's kind of closing the gap with us very quickly. Lead Sprinkler leveled up twice right there. Not bad. Hey, we got a temporary Blood Lightning spell. What could possibly spell fun, like blood being converted into lightning in order to bequeath the smiting betwixt the head, neck, and shoulders of our enemies? I like Blood Lightning. You like Blood Lightning. The government likes Blood Lightning. Everybody loves Blood Lightning. It's a universal crowd pleaser. This game does do a very, very good job with hit feedback, which I find is actually an area where a lot of vampire survivors A lot of Vampire Survivors like, saying VS I still need to come up with a genre name for this, but anyways, I'm going to call it a VS-like for now because it's faster and it takes less syllables. But anyways, one of the areas that I find that a lot of VS-likes do a piss-poor job is with hit feedback. It looks like we can level up the damage on our lead sprinkler. It looks like we've got deadly aim. I think I'm just going to upgrade the damage on Tornado, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and upgrade Tornado. It's kind of falling behind a little bit. I would like to level up the machine gun ability that we're firing out of the front of us, too. I like it a lot. I think it's great. Lots of things dying right now. Doesn't feel like our DPS is slowing down. The pain train seems to be operating in the absence of brakes at the moment, so I'm not going to worry too much about what I want to do next. We'll continue picking up crystals over here, keeping things moving, keeping things wild and annihilative. Unfortunately, a little bit of our XP seems to be falling down to a trickle. I would like to be gathering XP at a much more rapid rate. Más rápido, I think, is the way that I would like to be collecting XP. Unfortunately, not really happening that way. There's another level up after we wipe out that pack. Perfect. I do like the level up animation. I think that looks pretty good. We've got one more Tornado out of Tornado. I think we should do that. That extra Tornado also spamming out tennis balls. Probably going to be fairly solid. I do think that the weapons in this game are pretty unique. They've got a number of things in here that I don't think I've seen from any of the Vampire Survivors-like games. I've found that most of the attacks feel pretty decent to me, and a lot of the attacks feel a lot more flicky, too. And what I mean by that is that, like, when you play Vampire Survivors or you play something like 20 Minutes Till Dawn, there's a lot of, like, rapid-fire things that are just like, and they just keep firing forever. In this game, I feel like a lot of the attacks are kind of like flick, 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 flick. You know, you get, like, a burst and then nothing for a little bit, and there's kind of like a gap right there, and figuring out how to fill that gap feels like a strong play a lot of the time. Lead Sprinkler can level up and get an extra bullet, or our Star Scourge can chain 2 more times. Let's go for a little bit of extra chaining, shall we? That feels pretty good. Thus far, Scourge has been refraining from the chaining, but I don't want anything to be straining out here, so let's get after it. We've got Fire of Sinai. It is the evolved magma axis. Let's do it. So our flames on the ground, they now slow down the enemy and the flames stack. And it looks like the color of the spell changed as well. It is no longer the orange color that it was previously. Now it's got kind of like a pink lemonade thing going on. Pink lemonade flames! I don't know why it is that lemonade tastes so much better when it's pink, because it's still just like lemonade with food coloring in it. But I swear to God, dude, there's something about lemonade that's been dyed pink that just hits the spot better than default lemonade, and I'm willing to die on this hill. I'm willing to aggressively die on this hill. Something about pink lemonade just kind of hit different, you know what I mean? Let's wipe these dudes out. I need this boss to die is what I really need. There we go. Get the boss with the flames and the burninating and the Trogdor energy. It's getting to be a pretty old reference at this point. Like, it was a decently aged reference when I first started YouTube, but now that one's getting up there in age. It's getting a little bit crusty and dusty. We can go with Evolved Lead Sprinkler. 15% chance to explode for 20 damage on hit. Yeah, go for it. Why not? Things are going to start to get interesting soon. We've got about 4 minutes left in the default gameplay before we get to the never-ending tide, we're going to die at any moment mode. And I kind of want to test this build and see how it's doing. We do have a lot of directional strength. I'm a little bit worried. Oh, cool. We've got an extra chain on all of our abilities. This guy is not dying. There we go. Die for me, would you? Grab this treasure chest, and it looks like we got an upgrade to Inferno, Star Scourge, and Star Scourge. 3 upgrades right there. Not bad. And then another level up. I think I'll probably grab... Let's go ahead and upgrade Tailwind, I guess. Moving faster always feels like a strong play in games like this, especially when the enemies always have like a strong chance of increasing their speed as well. I am going to try to get the Smuggler Shrine, see if there's anything that I can purchase for myself from the Smuggler. I actually need a big grip of enemy death over here. The Smuggler has appeared, so we got the requisite kills. We can make ourselves faster, but the enemies faster. We can get 9 revives, but we have 1 HP. We can go demons always have -3 armor, but we also have less armor. You can also bypass this. You can use one of your flowers. These are metagame currency that you use to upgrade your books in between runs. But you can also use them to re-roll Ibrahim's Emporium. I'm just going to take the XP because there's nothing there that feels like it's going to benefit the build as of right now. We've got another level up. Fire of Sinai. Can get one more projectile base damage up. Yeah, let's do it. It looks like we got +1 pierce and some projectile speed. Very nice. All right, burn them up, burn them up, burn them up. We'll keep on gathering crystals over here as much as we possibly can. Looks good. What upgrades you got for me? Inferno gets a 15% chance to explode for 20 damage on hit. Okay. And then this treasure right here, upgraded Fire of Sinai twice. So we've got 25% base damage to the burning ground, and then one more projectile and more damage. Pretty much an all-around upgrade right there. We're starting to cordon off big chunks of the map just with flames at this junction. We do need to level up a little bit more, though. We haven't maxed out all of our spells yet, and I would prefer for them to be maxed out by the time we get to the bonus mode. We can evolve our Tornado. Do it. Let's go. The evolved Tornado has abandoned its sort of like Mountain Dew looking color and has now become Surge, the clearly superior soda that history threw by the wayside because it was just too early to understand what Surge was going for. Truly a soda that was ahead of the curve and better in every way than every other soda ever created. And you can take that to the bank. Yet another hill that I'm willing to die on. We've got a duplication enemy right here, but it looks like we're holding him back pretty well. Yeah, we'll take Monsoon. We've upgraded. We've got another projectile coming out of our whirlwinds now. Looks good. We are a little bit low on health, and we don't regenerate very quickly. My last run, I did a regeneration build where basically I could stand in the middle of enemies and take damage, and my regeneration was so fast that it didn't matter, but that collapsed on me pretty quickly once I got like 25 minutes into the game. Let's go ahead and we'll max out Sinai so that that's done. That'll allow us to focus our other upgrades a little bit more rapidly instead of spreading things around. We are establishing a pretty good trail of flames right now to keep us going, too. I will say that compared to my last run, the damage is a lot better on this run than it was last time. Like, things feel quite a bit more smooth. There we go. Kind of push these guys out of the way. Grab a few more crystals over here. Very nice. Knock you guys out a little bit. We are getting the gap closed with us a little tiny bit, but I think our forward-facing damage is so intensely powerful that the enemy just can't seem to break through. Ooh, and we got the tornadoes going the same direction. Let's take level 3 reverberation, I think. That's going to allow us to fire 20% faster. Yeah. Attack speed up by 20% just feels like a strong winner to me. We do have the ability to get another shrine right there. I don't even know what we got. It moved too quickly. We've got some treasure. 2 more projectiles off of our star score. Ooh, that was a nice little chain of explosions right there. I liked it. I liked it. Okay, so we've got more move speed, cooldown on Inferno, Trailblazer, Dark Moon, chance for enemies to freeze on hit. I'm going to work on Inferno for a second since that works towards the overall fire strategy that we have going on. And that seems to be carrying us pretty well, so if it's working and it ain't broke, don't fix it. I can't stand solutionism, man. If it ain't broke, stop trying to fix it. Perfect. Let me get a little bit more right there. Your balls will chain off of yet another demon. Sure. It's fun for me. It's fun for the demons. What's not to love? The Duplicator. You gonna die soon there, pal? I would like for you to die soon. We've got a temporary blood lightning spell again. You can see it going off. The little red crackle bursts right there. My man's got some HP on him. He's got a chin on him compared to the other bosses. I'm gonna keep gathering XP instead of like staying in one spot and fighting him. Just make sure that we keep things upgrading. We can go for brutality. I do think that that'll help with the size of our tornadoes to make them hit more enemies. Sounds pretty good. We got 2 red crystals right there. Just keep on moving around. Eventually, this guy will die. When he's going to die, I can't really truly say, but he dropped the chest, but he didn't die. I'm going to take his chest. Inferno's leveled up again. 15% chance to explode for 20 damage on hit. Wasn't that maxed out already? I wonder if it just keeps adding to the stats of the ability, even though it's maxed out. I don't know. Let's go for another brutality right here to make the fireballs bigger, make the tornadoes bigger, make the bullets bigger. Everything needs to be bigger when it triggers. That's just what I figure. I recognize that art from another game. What was that art from? That art's from another game. Anyways, the demonic legion has breached the barrier. The butcher approaches. The cosmos shall aid you in our final defense against her forces. Okay. Yeah, let's go. This is where the game turns into complete and total absolute mayhem. And to me, this is where it starts to get really, really fun. We're going to take another 15% cooldown reduction on all spells. And we're going to take the God Slap. That sounds good. I think we can do the God Slap. I'm not the one who's so far away when I feel the snake bite into my vein. God, I remember when that song came out. It was just on the radio like ad nauseum, dude. Like never stopped. Wipe out a couple of bosses over here. Keep ourselves looking good. There's an experience shrine right here. I'll take it. We can upgrade. I'm going to take faster cast speed. That sounds good to me. We're starting to look pretty strong in this demo right here. We're starting to look pretty good. What this game, I think, offers, really, by comparison to other things in the genre, is like a wide range of very customizable options for how you want your abilities to develop. Splitting everything up into auras, which are basically passives, and like main attacks is nothing new to this type of game. But in this game, it's segmented reasonably well that allows you like a very, very granular level of control over your stats that I think is going to work out pretty well for the people that like to fiddle with stuff. Let's see here. Repeatedly damages and knockback nearby demons, more effective against faster demons. We can get a little bit more regeneration from our aura in case we take damage. We can get Diamond Overcast, which strikes demons with lightning bolts that have a doubled critical chance. We can go with Fractures that allows our... We've already got Chaining as kind of like our main strategy. So I think I'm going to take that just to give us a higher chance of chaining things. Wow, dude, we are lighting off these shrines right now. Okay. We got an illegal upgrade this time around. We can get Acid Breath. It's a rotating acid spray. Kill demons, explode, dealing max HP as damage. Demons hit by the acid explosions lose armor, which stacks indefinitely. That'll replace our little machine gun bullet that we have. I don't know. Summon 7 cosmic shrines and complete them automatically. Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds good. Yeah, that was entertaining. I enjoyed every minute of that. That was exactly the sort of visual fanfare I enjoy. All right. Let's see here. Star Scourge sounds good. We'll throw that out there. I did notice that the screen is letterboxed down here, and I don't exactly know why. Is that something that we can disable? Interestingly, I didn't notice that the game was letterboxed, but it is letterboxed, but not on the top margin of the screen. How very, very odd. I wonder... Oh, I know what that's for. This is for when you've got the invulnerability buff. It ticks downwards down there. I was trying to think if I'd seen that space be filled during my runs, and like I had like this weird feeling. I guess it's not letterboxed. It's just a spot for kind of like random ability duration meters, just in case you need them. Repeatedly damages and knocks back nearby demons. Yeah, let's do that, because they're actually starting to close the gap with me. And something that kind of knocks back, that's basically just like garlic from Vampire Survivors. But frankly, I feel like garlic is very welcome right now. It is getting a little bit nasty in here. If I could get these bosses up and out of my booty cheeks, I feel like we'd be in better shape. But let's go ahead and go with Star Scourge level up. I feel bad for poor Star Scourge. Star Scourge just hasn't had a great day when it comes to the upgrades. I've been giving upgrades to everybody but my little Scourgy buddy. I wanted to see if I could finish that, and I did. It had so little. You have to be inside its little ring of influence for it to count, but I would like maybe to see health bars on some of the bosses, possibly. Sometimes it can be hard to gauge how close you are and whether or not to push or whether to pull when it comes to, like, beating them back. Oh, we ran out of map space. This is where I die then. Feels bad. I thought the map was going to keep infinitely generating. Star Scourge level up, push through, maybe survive. Yeah, there it is. So that's where basically duration abilities show up. Wow, we are not doing great right now. Oh, and there it is. We've been wiped out. And so anyways, not too bad, actually. I think it's a solid entry to kind of the VS-like catalog, I suppose. It's not bringing a ton of stuff to the table that's entirely new, but the game does look good. The game does have good pixel art. The game does have a really good soundtrack, and I think that the game gives you a nice kind of low-level control, or high-level control, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. It allows you to fiddly-diddly with a lot of stuff in your abilities and customize them out when it comes to, like, your crit rate, your fire rate, your maximum damage, stuff like that, that I think a lot of the other games just kind of keep on rails, and I think some people are going to like sort of that granularity thereof. It's a different take. It's very, very similar to other entries, but it does have little things that make it distinct if you're into the genre. And so anyways, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we had Spellbook Demonslayers. Tomorrow we will have something else. Thank you for the luxury of your time, and I will be back tomorrow.